right, welcome back to Last Week Chopped Up after a brief hiatus, but we got my man Jeremy Holmes back on the line. I'm dialing in from Amsterdam today, and Jeremy, you out there in LA. It's great to see you again. It has been too long.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Been a minute back in LA. Thought we were gonna do a road pod for me. I was in, Baltimore for a week, trying to pod across America. But yeah, man, been a minute. Good to get back to it.
For sure. How was Baltimore, man?
It was good. I've only kind of haven't been to many cities on the East Coast or Mid Atlantic or whatever you want to call that. So it was fun, hanging out with the cousins. Got to see, just some Baltimore stuff. Eat a lot of crab. I guess just think they're a crab loving group out there. So that was good to do. And also went to my first NFL game post this COVID insanity, and it was quite a time. Saw some Sunday night football.
Yeah.
Mahomes versus Lamar.
Yeah.
Great game broke out. Yeah, man, it was a heck of a time. So it's good to kind of just get out, try a new city, see how people get down.
How was it? How did you feel at all like this is strange being in a big crowd, or was it just like, well, this is how a football game is? Did it feel natural?
Nah, man, I'm kind of on the other side of yeah, I'm good, bro. Like, obviously I'm down with whatever policies of
Yeah.
whatever city you're in, but no, because I've gone to a couple or baseball games, so it's kind of that was the initial one. I was like, oh, okay, it's been a minute. Or this is just more like, oh, it just feels good to be,
Yeah.
just kind of normal, do stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not like anything really of a check because also here I went to like a little music fest. And it's same thing, mask off. It's outdoors, not a
Yeah.
big deal. But
Yeah.
then it's like I had like 4 wristbands on. You need like proof of vax, and I forgot something else. And the out you're like, oh right, okay, the world's still kind of away. You need, proof of vaccine stuff to get in. So now I just have that image saved in my favorites in my phone, just in case that's
Yeah.
needed anywhere. I could just like, oh, nope, 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 nope. I got my shots. We good. Let me get in here.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think it's pretty easy for me to jump back into I just jump back into it. But the one thing is when someone's like shaking hands or something, I'm still like, are we supposed to do that? Like, am I being rude to shake? Like, do I offer my hand? Do I not offer my hand? Like, how do I greet someone in the COVID world? Like, I don't know. I can't. It just feels awkward. Like the wrist, this feels weird to me. You know what I mean? This thing,
Yeah.
the chicken wing thing feels weird to me. You know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I guess I don't because I'm still mostly, meeting up and hanging out with people I know or like either I know well or like friend of a friend. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, whatever, man. Like I know you vaxxed up or whatever. Well, good. What's good,
Yeah.
bro?
Yeah.
The only time really just meeting, like real randoms is, if we're out at a bar or something one night watching a football game. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing, random person? Sure, let's strike up a random conversation. But even then, it's kind of like, all right, like I'm as protected as one
Yeah.
can reasonably be,
Uh,
especially when we're outdoors. It's like, all right, whatever, like
yeah.
just trying to get to the other side of this. So to me, I just feel like, hey, I'm not uber cautious, but I think I'm being as I've been reasonably cautious. Got this vax. If I get COVID, I should 99.8% be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, or it's like might have had it and not even known, right? Like that's another thing. A lot of people who get the breakthrough cases is like, oh, like a lot of the coaches, like all the like 7 or 8 coaches on the New Orleans Saints route. And it's like, oh yeah, there's no symptoms. Like no
Yeah.
one, no, they
Yeah.
just happen to be doing testing. And you're like, oh, I guess I got COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, if we didn't have weekly testing, wouldn't have even
But
known
no,
I had
yeah,
it.
no
Yeah.
idea. No, I'm with you. I'm the same way, but like I do find it like I met our neighbors in our new place, whatever, and it's like no one knows what to do, and it's like, am I fist bumping this old Dutchman? Am I chicken wing him? Am I shaking his hand? Am I patting him on the back? Like, how do you handle this and not be a jerk? Like, I just don't like. To me, it's just one of those. Like, I always found it a little awkward. When like, when you go for a fist bump and someone grabs your hand or something. Like, it's like I feel like it's that times 10.
Wait, you talking about just straight like movie stuff? It's like, oh, this is so awkward. I'm giving you the fist bump, and you just palmed me.
I
You
mean,
palmed my hand.
it's like cultural differences out here as well. Like you never, like you just don't. I definitely have gone for like a chicken wing thing when someone's coming in for a hand and it's like, oh, am I the jerk here? Are you the jerk? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm happy to shake your hand. I can use some hand sanitizer later. Like, I'm vaccinated. It's all good. But I don't know. The whole greeting thing's like is gone to me. Like, I just don't know what to do anymore, man. I don't
I was
know.
gonna say that reminded me, man. So we were like kind of pre-vax when it was super early on, where it's on like old folks' homes and frontline workers. So I'm going on some first dates and stuff. I just kind of at the date, it's like, so what do we? Are
Yeah.
you? Do we hug this out? Can you hug? Like, what is it? What are the rules right now? Like, I don't know what to do.
It I don't know. It just adds a little bit. I guess we can all just talk about it. But one thing I want to talk to you about is the representation of COVID in movies and TV. Because what I've noticed is a lot of TV shows are just acting like in their universe, COVID didn't happen. Like just shoot around it. Just in this universe, like just in West Wing, there's a different president. In our universe, COVID didn't happen. Because I'm guessing all the focus groups are telling them, do not show COVID on TV. People are so sick of it. No one wants to see people in masks on TV. No one wants to see this happening. But I don't know how exactly I feel about it, because it also does seem to say it's over in a sense. Like, these are like news shows coming out. There's like, they're just solving crimes. Like, it's this, I don't know. How do you feel about that balance of like, I don't know, have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think certainly like last season stuff saw well, a decent amount of COVID, like Law and Order. They
Yeah.
I think they were doing kind of the halfway. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, so the actors are wearing masks walking into the room, and then when they're in the room together, they take it off so we can see
Yeah.
them talk. You're like, all
Yeah.
right, well that's actually like the reverse of
I know.
what you
I
should be
know.
doing, right? And then like oh, say I watched season 8 million or whatever of Grey's Anatomy,
Yeah.
and they were all the way in.
Yeah,
We
sure.
masked up, because I guess a medical show. So I think to me, it's like, all right, I get it. Like, all right, last year it was hard, we're going through stuff, representation. I think on a go forward, we got vaccines out. If everyone had this, we'd be chill. The world could be normal. Like, I think it's a look ahead. Like, okay,
Yeah, I'm with you.
let's look head back to normalcy, and we're just gonna shoot this show, regular old fashioned, keep it moving. We're just trying to entertain you. You don't, you're aware. You don't need any more reminders that
Yeah.
COVID exists.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm with you. It's sort of like when with the Trump election going on. Like, it's not like the show. Like, all I'm thinking about every day is this dude going to get reelected? Like, literally, all I'm thinking about is that. And I'm reading 18 different New York Times articles a day. But I don't want to turn the TV on and have the sitcom being like, so it turns out we might reelect a misogynist racist. Um, like, are you stressed about that? Because I'm stressed about that.
yeah, you're like, yes, I am. This is my escape.
Yeah.
You're killing me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not working for me, So I'm with it. I think the one show. I don't know if you watch the show Blackish.
I do watch Blackish.
And it's usually like, they talk about current events, and they talked about George Floyd. They talk about current events, right? And so the first like 6 episodes of the latest season was all about COVID, and the mom works is a doctor, right? And so she's like coming home, and everyone's self-isolating. And then by the 7th episode, they were just like, cool, now Anthony Anderson's going back to work, and the kid's going to college, and COVID doesn't exist anymore. I was
Yeah,
like, that was an interesting one to me, where it's like you took it real seriously, and then it was just like, it's done, Like,
I mean, that's America, man. It's like, all right,
yeah,
it's real serious. We're being strict, and then it's like, all right, we putting all these kids back to school this year. We
yeah,
ain't doing this
yeah,
again. People are just like not gonna do it. Like,
yeah,
we got close enough, mask up, put them desks really far apart. I need to get these children out of my house.
yeah.
Like, I think that's the perspective people have. Like, let's figure out how to get this done. Last year we were scared. This year, let's problem solve.
No, I'm actually with that, and I get a little, but I know. So I'm with you. I'm with it. You don't have to represent in your universe. I'm actually fine with like movies coming out. It's like in the movies universe, there is no COVID. You know what? Like, I like that universe. I like escapism towards that universe. I have no problem whatsoever. I don't want to watch anything to do with COVID on the TV, because I don't want to think about it, and I'm not. I'm the focus group to say that's cool by me. I think we all know we should get a vaccine. And if you don't want to get a vaccine and you're convinced because Anthony Anderson is socializing in his office at work, that's why, then there's no helping you. I think at this point, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like,
Right.
if that's your argument.
Like I'll be like, and here's your reminder that you should go get it or whatever. Your office still isn't open.
Yeah.
Like that's how you know the world where it's like, yeah, I don't know what an office is like. I will probably be 2 years
Yeah.
at least before I'm in an office. Like being in an office has got to be talk about weird. That's gonna feel
That's
weird
gonna
by
be
that
weird.
point. Like, whoa, seeing you people
That's gonna be
doing
weird.
stuff in person, and especially if early on, it's like, and wait, we don't get. There's no coffee. There's no barista anymore. There's no food here. Like,
Yeah.
because if it's not, the old tech perks, I'm like, oh, then I really don't want to be in this office. Like I'm used to working at home, got a good setup.
Yeah.
Like I'm good. So yeah, I think that would be a great, interesting pod. And it's like, okay, so I go to the office twice a week. This is weird. Let's talk about that.
Oh, the idea of seeing like 50 people a day regularly, that I think gives a lot of people anxiety right now. And a lot of employees that work for me talk about that. And I can understand why. It's like you've been told to limit your contacts responsibly for so long. You kind of internalize that and you're like, all right, if we see like 3-4 people in a day now, we're like, that was a day. Like we saw 3-4 other humans. Like that's a serious day. That would be like 9 a.m. meeting in the past, So I don't know. I feel it myself. I feel a little bit like, not from the COVID aspect, as much just from the intensity of it, in a sense that I'm just not used to interacting like that. Maybe it's going to be totally cool, you know what I mean? But like for me, if you said like, jump in tomorrow, I'd be like, I don't know. Like I like having lunch with my wife at home. I don't think I would go to the work cafeteria.
Like to me, and it's not. I don't think I have that. It's more of like, but why go in though?
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, but why? This is working. Like other than like to me, I'm on the specific events. It's like, oh wait, like I haven't seen person X who's actually kind of a friend at work. Like, oh yeah, it would be nice to see you in person and have the company pay for our lunch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
or just some new hire on the team. It's like, oh, I've literally never ever seen you in person. You should probably do that once. Like stuff like that I could get, but just going to go, oh no, I'm good, bro.
No. I find what I miss the most is that it's hard to have a Zoom meeting where you collaborate and build versus review. Like it's easy to do a review because you have the slides or the document, you roll through it. But if you want to collaborate and have it be open-ended, you can walk into a room, have a whiteboard up there, or just talk. You're not going to feel like there's going to be these awkward pauses or it can go sideways. But I've tried to run these collaborative sessions. People can be multitasking. They don't know how to jump in. They talk over each other. Like it just it feels a little bit like when you did. I don't know if did you do any of those Zoom family 20-person calls that people did at the outset of COVID that were just
I did have some of those. Yeah. I had a Zoom family reunion.
They're disasters, right? Like that doesn't it's too unstructured.
It was interesting because there's a long time of trying to talk a 70-year-old on how to turn their video on.
For sure.
It's like Auntie Bobby. No, the second button from the button from the left. And then it's like you turn your mute on. Mute yourself. You're talking to somebody else. So, but there's just that weirdness. But I think you kind of need someone just like a regular meeting. Like, okay, who's the like lead or host here? Who's kind of like steering the conversation, right? Because if it's just kind of, oh, we're just gonna free form and everyone jump in. It's like, oh no, that does not work in this format. Like, just take the reins of this meeting. Make your point. It's like, okay, we're gonna open it up. Oh, no one has anything? Okay, I'm gonna keep talking.
And to me, it leads to more like two people talking scenarios too, because of the way it's hard to jump in. So it's like, if you want to do like a collaborative brainstorming session, you end up having like 2-3 people talking to each other because everyone else is like, well, I'm not in this. Where if they're in the room, you can cue, you can subtly this, you can wait. So I don't know. I miss that because like having to plan things, and I'm with you on the family 15-person ones is definitely that experience where if you don't have a host, it's like, okay, cool. Like this is just going to be tech support for auntie, you know what I mean? Or uncle. Like we had a few of those. My dad, we had one. I'll put my dad on blast. My wife and I dial in. It's with the Indian family. My wife and I dial in. it's a shit show, to be honest with you. Like, everyone's dialing in. One of my cousins is trying to MC. Like, it's fun, but it's a mess. Like, 45 minutes in, my dad just messages like, "Gotta roll," and he just hangs up and leaves. And we stood on for like 30 more minutes. And Liz is like, did he just leave his own family's call? Like, with no explanation. Not like there's an emergency. He's just like, and he told me later, he's like, "Well, that was a bit of a mess." I'm like, yeah, I know. We were there for 30 more minutes.
Yeah, like to me, I love when one's going long, like a work thing, and I'm, 90% of the time when I bounce, I do have something else, but
Yeah,
sometimes it's like,
yeah,
okay, I'm sick of this. I'm like, oop, got another meeting, y'all, gotta
yeah,
run,
for sure.
and it's just like take it off, like, ooh, I'm gonna get some water, stretch my legs. That
Yeah,
meeting sucked.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're just like, yeah, I got a reason to just make up a reason to bail out. I'm out right
Yeah,
now.
it is. It is way easier than in person when you're like, I gotta walk around the conference table and like see everybody, and then you could see me going to the bathroom right now, like the thing. Like, I'm not like, it's like you see me at the coffee shop later, like, huh, what was that thing you had to go do? Like, get lunch? Like, like,
Yeah, it's like, oh, it got resolved surprisingly fast. I don't
yeah,
know, got another call when I was on my way there, and then I figured I couldn't jump back in the meeting, so I'm hanging out with the
yeah. No,
barista.
I
you
mean,
know,
talk about the office. I used to hide from my teams because I sat in the middle of the bullpen. Like, I sat in the middle of 50 people that reported up to me. And so I just couldn't sit there and focus. So I just would say, "Oh, I have a meeting in another building," and go to some other part of the building. And then every now and then people would find me and be like, "I thought you were over in this building." I'm like, "Oh, I was lying. I wanted my peace and quiet," like,
Yo, I used to do that too. Like,
yeah.
we had all these floors. I'm like, wait. So there's like a few empty conference rooms on the floor that there's barely anyone there. I'm just going to go there so people can't bother me
Yeah.
and attempt to actually do work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this crazy idea of trying to get some work done. I have to hide from you people.
I know, but you can't
Oh
just say
man.
that. I don't know. Maybe I just need to be more honest. Be like, "Hey, it's my focus time. I'm going and I'm in the bullpen and I can't focus. I want to be approachable. I want people to roll up and talk to me. I love that. That being said, it doesn't work at all times. Whereas at home, you can just be like, cool. So I'm not responding to chats right now. I'm not going to get on a video call right now. I am going to focus." And I do appreciate that a ton, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We're back in the office. Who knows how it, I don't know how it's going to all work out. Like, it's either going to be this huge thing that culturally affects office work forever, and it's this bellwether moment, or it's going to be, I think, the other extreme. Like, everything went back to normal, and everyone's talking about, remember when we thought everything was going to change, and actually we just like got back. We just, I don't know, came back to the office. The coffee machine's on again, and I think it's all or nothing. I think it's going to be huge or nothing. But I don't know. What do I know?
We'll see. So man, this has got to be a quick one. So I do have to run. So I know there's one topic that I wanted to throw out to you
Oh
to
yeah,
make sure we got to.
let's do it.
I think semi screw up of the week. I don't know if
So I
about
think
it,
it's up
but
there. Yeah.
mainly all of these athletes
Oh
that
my
are
god.
kind of anti-vax.
Oh my
So
god.
this is, the start of the NBA training, media day. Every team has their media day, and on the plus side, 90% of the NBA is
That's
vaccinated.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
I want to take a moment to recognize that because
Yeah.
most of the stories we've heard are on the 10% who are
Yeah.
allowed 10%. So
Yeah.
90%,
Yeah.
pause, go you guys.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about this
Let's
10%
talk
for
about
the
ten
rest
percent. No, but then let's talk
of
about the
what we're
10%.
talking about, right? And the NBA's been kind of soft, like no vaccine mandates, and they haven't really agreed to the rules yet on what players have to abide by. And this is one where strangely, like the NFL,
Yep.
the NHL
Yep.
have been way more strict. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, you get, they don't have vaccine mandates, but have been quite clear, like your life is going to absolutely suck
Yeah.
if you don't get vaccinated. It's
Yeah.
like you need to wear a mask all times indoors. You're going to be socially distanced inside the place. You're going to get tested twice a day.
Yeah.
You got to get your test at like 7 a.m. Even if you got a noon meeting. It's like, yeah, we tested 7, dog. You got to be here. So I've seen a lot of stories of NFL players who were, I guess, more vaccine hesitant, I guess, than anti-vax. And at first they're like, yeah, it's my choice. I'll deal with these rules. And many of them have been like, yeah, man, that sucks. So I got my jab. My first jab is in. Like I don't want this life. And to me, the problem is that in the NBA, it's a lot of stars,
It's
like
a lot of
Kyrie Irving,
stars.
Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
This is like, this is a
Simmons.
personal decision. Ben Simmons. Wait, Ben Simmons?
Yeah, Ben Simmons he's anti-vax too, right? He had the religious exemption.
Oh,
He applied for religious exemption.
I I did not know that. I didn't know they'd given that to anybody.
No, he
But
didn't
yeah,
get
it is
it.
just okay, okay, yeah. Like it's just been crazy the amount of them, and like it's also causes awkwardness now because New York and San Francisco, you got to have the vaccine to be allowed in those
Yeah,
buildings.
yeah,
Right. And
yeah,
then the NBA and the cities are like, yeah, I don't care that you play basketball, dog. Like, you have to be vaccinated. So, now Andrew Wiggins, who is on the
yeah,
Golden State Warriors,
yeah,
he's pretty strong in this. And, if he stays strong, he can't play in at least half of his team's games.
yeah,
And could you imagine being in that locker room with this guy? You're like, so you're supposed to be a starter on our team, and because you don't want to get a jab or two, you're gonna miss 55 to 60% of our games. Like, you might as well not be on the team, bro.
yeah, yeah,
And that's the part on just the even if you're vaccine hesitant, it's like your team's gonna be worse
yeah.
because you won't do this. Like, if you're all in on basketball, go get that jab, man. So I don't know. Obviously, it's, like I said, a lot of people talking about it, but it is one I just don't get it. Like, is this worth losing $20 million?
Yeah.
you
No,
like,
I don't get it. And I will fact check myself. Ben Simmons was seen at an anti-vax rally and rumored to be, but he's not. I think he has taken the vax, so I think he did come around to it. But
okay,
but
okay.
but the rest of these guys have not. So I think there was rumors and he was seen there, but I'll correct the record there. But these other guys, like, I, no one's forcing you. To me, it's like they've used this language of like, I'll do it if I'm forced, right? You're like, but no one's forcing you. You have a choice. You're paid millions of dollars. You
Yeah.
can choose to play or not. Like, I don't. Forced is a very different situation. Forced and like millionaires usually don't go in the same sentence to me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I don't
like
I don't know. I'm disappointed
it's
by
like you're
it.
generally too rich for me to force you to do anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, or it's like, okay, but like to me when I hear that, you're like, so can we make this easier by just me saying you're forced to get this and you all won't complain and we'll just do it? Like, is that because
yeah.
to me, I'm like, is that what you're trying to get the outcome to be of being like, oh, I didn't have a choice, I had to get it because yeah, I don't get it, man. It's
I
weird.
I think all these players are the screw up of the week because I'm with you. I just don't. I don't. I like you said, 90%. That's in the positive. The NBA though is tripping a little bit, not putting down what the NHL has done, which is basically saying anything that transpires from a player that's unvaccinated getting sick results in forfeits, results in all of this stuff. Like, that's on you. And I just feel like then these California said you can't enter the arena, then you can't enter the arena. Then no one's forcing you to enter the arena. They're just saying you can't unless you're doing things for the safety of others in the arena. You also can't bring a gun to the arena. You also can't do other things that would endanger the safety of other people in the arena. So I don't know. It's demoralizing to me because there are people that look up to NBA athletes. There's a reason. There's a reason that we hold public figures to a higher standard. There's a reason that there's personal ethics clauses in these contracts, and it's disappointing to me that we're in this position. Whereas if 100% of NBA players had gotten the vaccine, that's such a great story for everybody in America to get behind, and so.
Yeah, and contrast to the WNBA, I think very early on in the summer they're like, "Oh yeah, we're 99% back.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a thing for us."
And let's give
Yeah,
the female players some credit. They're out there setting an example, and
yeah,
and and all the attention's going to your Wiggins and Beals of the world who are commanding. And also, I mean, like,
let's be honest. Kyrie, I feel, is the ringleader of this
isn't
movement.
Kyrie like isn't he like the third or fourth ranked union representative?
Yeah, he's up there because I think Chris Paul and LeBron got
Yeah.
replaced. I think CJ McCollum is the president, but I think Kyrie's up there, and that is a. I mean, we knew he was a strange bird before, but that's a strange bird, man.
I mean, it was always. I remember we've talked about it. Like, is he trolling with his flat Earth stuff? Where does he really think? Is he really just kind of conducting social experiments? Like, I know, and I don't think he is. I think he's just someone that loves conspiracy theories that happens to be really good at basketball. And Made a pretty good movie, Uncle Drew, back in the day. Still like Uncle Drew.
I still haven't seen Uncle Drew. I need to give that one a watch.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got to give Uncle Drew.
It's one of those where, like, I thought you were trolling on Flat Earth. You're like, but you seem to be into thinking the vaccines putting a microchip in black people to track them or something. So that's nuts. Also, do you use a cell phone?
That's the thing.
You can be tracked quite easily with this thing that you have with you all the time.
No, have you ever released like a privacy feature and like see the adoption? Like if it's not opt in, if you're like, hey, I have a new privacy feature, you have to go find it.
It's like, oh well,
0% of people do it.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's like you're so trackable. You're a celebrity. Everyone knows where you are at all times. Like I don't know. So I'm with you. I think they're the screw up of the week. NBA's soft pedaling a little bit, but if one of the main union leads is thinking it's a Moderna microchip, it's not a great start for negotiations. So, but certainly some interesting topics. We'll see how this story develops as the league, especially the California-based teams and playing in California. I mean, that's not something. I think there's a workaround there. You just will not get your game check, right? You just will not play.
Oh yeah. So they finally announced that, like, if you don't play a game because of COVID, no checks, which they just said, I think, yesterday. And it's like, you need to make it quite clear that if you can't play, if you got COVID and you're not vaccinated, like, no money. Yeah. Money's not coming in.
Yeah.
Because I think I know we got to wrap up soon, but I think a big thing, at least for the Lakers, because LeBron was on he never said personal choice, and now they have said loudly that the Lakers will be 100% vaccinated by the start of the season.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that just on the vantage point of, we just know all of our guys can play all the time. So that is an advantage. So we're gonna, regardless of my hesitancy, we want to be able to play everyone. So get them jabs.
Yeah. No, I don't know. To me, like, if you approach these guys in high school and say you can take human growth hormone to get a little bit bigger and faster, everyone's taking it. Somehow the vaccine is just I think you're right that they'd rather be forced. So they say, I never gave in, I was forced. I'm true to me. At this point, I think the NBA would do him a favor and say, you can't play unless you're vaccinated. It's your choice ultimately, but you can consider this you're being forced. So you can tweet, I was forced. Like, we'll give you the air cover. When your boss says, like, hey, you want me to take the heat on this? You probably do that. You want me to take the heat on this? Like
yes, please take the bullet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we forcing you. Biden made us do it. End of story. And like just call it good. I think at this point, you just have to make a brave move. I think Biden did a great job with that brave move. I think that's it. But I know we got to go. Jeremy, fantastic seeing you. Hope we can do this next week. Follow up on some of these key topics. I know we had a couple others about content and shows and stuff like that. We just didn't get to, but. We remind all our listeners out there, like, subscribe, follow, hit those buttons so the new episode shows up in your feed. And until then, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, catch you later, Chopper.